Ryoko and Mako go through an obstacle course of death in Don't Be Late Day in my review of Kill la Kill Episode 4. The minute this episode fully had my attention and made me laugh out loud, I think was probably the moment when I saw the woman who was breastfeeding her baby pull out a machine gun and start firing it at the main characters. It's that type of show. Kill la Kill Episode 4 is proving once again why it's one of the most spastic and crazy anime this year, and maybe of all time. This is one of the nuttiest shows I've ever seen, and Episode 4 of Kill la Kill was definitely the most comedic one so far, but there was definitely a lot of really big highlights, but definitely this was an episode that was meant to make you laugh. So the premise of this episode is very simple, but has some massive consequences. Essentially, once a year at this academy, they have this one day called Don't Be Late Day, and they give the students a huge opportunity to get up really early at 4 a.m. and make their way to the school. If they don't make it to their first class by 8:30 a.m., they are expelled from the academy and they cannot return. And they also have to leave their homes, which is also connected to the whole Honnouji Academy thing. I'm not even sure how all that works yet. Point is, all of the students are going to have to make their way through this giant obstacle course of death, which has been set up by Gamagori, and he's the big guy with all the spikes on his shoulders and everything. He's really awesome, and he sets up basically this like big ninja warrior thing that they all have to go through, which features everything from giant spikes, loop-de-loops, fire, and even a trail of cheese leading to pie in the face. However, it's all the spastic humor that just makes this one so funny. There are so many little moments that are hilarious. And what's great about all of this is it's an episode that showcases Mako a lot and Ryoko interacting with each other, and they're just a crazy duo in general. And all of this is made worse by the fact that Ryoko actually doesn't even have any access to the Senketsu suit that she wears. So she's not even going to be able to use this for half the time, and Mako's family is actually trying to desperately deliver it to her throughout the course of the episode, and that's just as funny as the other stuff that's going on. There is a new character that is introduced in this episode, and her name is Maiko, and the minute you're introduced to her, you know something's not quite right. And maybe it's just her introduction, and maybe it's just the fact that she has big evil red eyes, but it's pretty clear that she doesn't have any good intentions. And throughout the course of the episode, there's this really funny gag where Mako's family is trying to constantly catch up with Ryoko and give her her suit. And every single time they're right about to do it, there's a scene where Mako accidentally falls over and grabs a piece of Ryoko's suit, and it's her pajamas, by the way, and starts to pull them down, and we get a nice big shot of her panties, which causes Mako's family to have those big old stereotypical bloody noses that squirt all over the place, and it causes them to slam into a wall, start to pass out, and they have to pass on the mission to another member of the family. And it does this 3 times, and each time it is pretty funny. The first time it's the father who knocks into the wall, the second time it's the son, and he does the same thing as the father, and then it's up to the dog Guts, and it is really, really funny when Guts is making his way towards the group, and this is actually when things really start to escalate. After Ryoko and her group have literally dodged like an entire mob of people with guns, and after being on a giant bus shooting a giant frickin' chain gun, yes, it actually happened in this episode, you just sort of have to accept it. It's all leading up to this moment where they finally make it to the school, and Mako reveals that she's actually the leader of this trap-making committee, and because of this, she's actually been trying to steal the Senketsu suit, which finally does arrive. Guts runs in with Senketsu riding on his back, which is hilarious, and then he ends up getting kicked right in the face, which is pretty friggin' messed up. And of course, it does the scene again where he actually sees Ryoko's panties, and he starts to get the bloody nose. It's very funny and absolutely ridiculous. Mako eventually gets her hands on the Senketsu suit, and she tries it on, and she even goes through a weird transformation, but it doesn't work. It doesn't look like the Senketsu suit is going to work with her at all. And then eventually she decides she's going to escape in a really hilarious sequence where it seems as if she's actually going to kill herself, but she actually has a parachute. So how do Mako and Ryoko make the class? I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to see it for yourself. This is an anime series that I just have to fully recommend to just about everybody. It's just so crazy and spastic and hilarious. All of the colors are vibrant, all of the characters are very, very distinct from each other, and for the most part, when there is action, it's pretty good. But this was not an action episode. This was one that was made to make you laugh, and there were a ton of little moments. Everything from Mako confronting Gamagori, to all of the Mako moments, to every single time they actually managed to pull off Ryoko's pajamas and you saw her panties. It actually was very funny, but my favorite scene by far was after all of these really terrible traps, there's this scene where Mako is just enticed by this trail of cheese, and it's just the most ridiculous thing ever, and she tries to eat all the cheese, and then Ryoko pushes her out of the way, which is leading up to this basket, which just has a basically a cake slam on her face, and that's it. It's like all this other dangerous shit, machine guns all over the place, and this one trick is a cake to the face. Whatever, this show can totally get away with it. It's just so insane. So this was definitely an episode made to make you laugh, and I was definitely laughing throughout the entire episode. It looks like next week's episode is going to get a little bit more into the traditional action, but every once in a while we're going to need these breaks, and frankly, it's just good to have a big smile on your face every once in a while watching anime. It's good to get away from all of the brooding stuff. So make sure and check out this series, guys. Kill La Kill is pretty much a great mixture of everything. It manages to bring a lot of memories of old school anime, and it manages to be something new at the same time. So check it out. It's absolutely gorgeous and definitely worth your time. So if you guys did get a chance to check out this week's episode of Kill La Kill, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. You could tell me about some of your favorite moments, as ridiculous as they may be. And remember, guys, before you leave, make sure and give this video a thumbs up. Absolutely one of the best ways to support our videos. So I will see you next time, guys. Don't be late. Super Kami Guru 9000 out.